Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, this is BurnCRSP and welcome to NetBattler101%, a complete guide of MegaMan Battle Network for the Game Boy Advance. Along the ride, I will attempt to give you a comprehensive rundown on not only how to reach the end of the game, but also show you all where to obtain all of the collectible upgrades, all of the battle chips, as well as achievements for Legacy Collection and RetroAchievements. You'll be able to find the links to both the array set, my profile and other resources used during the guide down in the description. And without further ado, grab your PETs, get comfy, and let's jack in. It's the year 20XX. Net crime is on the rise, and right off the bat, our heroes awake to set off into a grandiose adventure called not being late for school. But before that, let's make sure we have everything ready, shall we? MegaMan.exe has to come along, so grabbing that PET is our very first task. Let's take a moment to check our starting gear. While MegaMan might seem weak at level 1, don't you worry, we're gonna get that fixed real soon. You'll begin the journey with 10 chips registered on your library, which come from your starting deck. Take a good look at this folder though, because we are going to be making quite a lot of changes to it. In fact, if you check your mail, you'll receive your first new battle chip from Lance's dad, Crossgun with a C code. So let's put that to work right away. First thing I recommend you to do is to swap out the escape chip for the crossgun we just got. Why, you ask? Well, in Ep.1 there isn't a conventional run button. Instead, you need to add escape chips to your deck in order to flee from a battle. Since we won't have to run away from anything for a while, we don't need to sacrifice a chip slot for it. Now that our fellow MegaMan is set to go, let's give the same luxury to our human protagonist and allow him to have breakfast before going out. By doing so, you'll get another copy of Recovery 10. Now, on the way to ACDC Elementary, Lance's neighbor and close friend Mail will let us know about the chain of events that have been happening around the town. Thing is, ovens have begun to burst into flames out of nowhere, and the reason has yet to be found. While the gossip is certainly interesting, class is about to start, so make sure to speak to all of the NPCs. They will offer you some nice world building and a few tips on different aspects of the game, like how to properly use your PET. Once you're done, you can head to the bottom left corner to talk to Lance's friendly rival Dex Oyama. He wants us to fight his nabby Gutsman.exe, so let's show him what we've got, shall we? Get ready! Well, saved by the bell, as some would say. For good reason though, because this next section will act as a tutorial to teach you all about how the battle system works. So, jack into the net and make sure to take your time. Since the game is pretty good at explaining its own mechanics to you, I'm going to take this as a chance to show you all a cool trick that you'll probably find pretty useful. You see, right now the Mega Buster is at level 1 in all of its stats. As you can probably imagine, the damage output and fighting rate are very weak. And since the charge shot is disabled for now, you're left with just firing pellets at your enemies. However, despite our lack of stats, there is a way to shoot faster. Whenever you press B to fire a shot, MegaMan will stand in place, fire his buster, and then you won't be able to fire again for a certain period of time. As you invest in upgrading the buster, the gap between shots will be shorter and you'll be allowed to shoot faster. However, MegaMan's movement is not locked down during this animation. This is a good design choice, but it has an unexpected effect. Because MegaMan fires his buster at the start of his shooting animation, and moving cancels said animation, you can do this. This is something I like to call the funky step, and it's a very easy way to shoot much faster than what you're supposed to at this point of the game. Even though this trick will become less useful later down the road, right now it works wonders to dish out some nice damage while waiting for the custom gauge to fill up. Combine this with getting close to the enemy so the shots land straight away, and you'll dominate early game fights like a champ. Okay, that's it for tutorials. Let's have some fun. Before going outside, we have a battle to finish, so head over to Dex and let's duke it out with Gutsman. This first version of his fight is very simple. His attack patterns are very similar to the Metul enemies we've seen in the tutorial, so if you apply that knowledge here and make good use of your chips, you'll be done before you even notice. Oh, and expanded chips will make the ground shockwaves completely useless, so place your holes carefully. Don't feel bad if you have a bad run though, since this fight has no reward screen, and it will not count towards any busting level rank. With the Gutsman fight done, we are free to go out and explore our hometown. As soon as you step out of the building though, you'll get a bunch of mail messages. One of them is from Dad, who has developed a power-up for MegaMan. Sadly, it's too big to be sent through mail, so we'll have to wait a little bit longer for it. The other one comes from your teacher, and it contains some extra tips about the battle system. Alright, enough with the explanations, let's get to jack our blue digital friend to some random places. But before that, we can get our first achievement of the run. Stand in the middle of the road like an absolutely sane human being, and as soon as you make a car stop on its tracks, you'll get the roadblock achievement. We surely live in a society. Jokes aside, head over to Lance's house and jack into the doghouse. This is one of the many computers we can explore. If you head to the top left corner, you'll find a mystery data containing the BattleChip Shotgun K. The reason why we are here though is a bit different. From now on, we'll be fighting enemies in random encounters, and inside here you'll find these Metul guys we saw in the tutorial. By defeating them fast enough, you'll get the very first two entries of our library, the Shockwave and Medguard BattleChips. You might be wondering how the game decides to drop you any of these two, so this is the perfect time for me to quickly explain to you how the busting level works. At the end of each battle, you'll be given a rank. This number depends on multiple factors, like how long it took you to win the fight, how many times you've moved around the battlefield, or the number of hits you've taken throughout the fight. The higher your rank is, the better the reward will be. These rankings go from 1 to 10, and if you perform really well, you'll get an S rank. To get Shockwave, you'll need a busting level of 7 or higher, and to get Medguard, you'll need a level between 4 and 7. There are various ways to manipulate this rank, but for now, allow me to show you how to consistently get S ranks to always get you the best rewards. It's pretty simple. If you win the fight in less than 5 seconds, and defeat 2 or more enemies with a single shot and without taking damage, you will always get an S rank. Now let's see that in action. Remember that crossgun chip? Well, in this area you can find a formation that's perfect for it. If you happen to draw this chip, try to get all enemies below 30 HP, try to make them stand perfectly for the shot to land, and then BAM! You'll destroy all 3 of them at the same time. By doing so, you will be rewarded with the S Ranker achievement in RA, or the Awesome Operator trophy if you're using Legacy Collection. And if you followed the same strategy, you will also get the triple kill Chibo from RA. That's 2 achievements knocked out in one fight. I must let you know though, this achievement didn't pop for me when recording the footage for this episode. Apparently, the specific Chibo had a ticket open and is probably not working properly. So even if I didn't get it to appear, it should be fixed by the time you're watching this video. That aside, we have another reason to be inside this place, and that is the presence of Metul B2. This guy is slightly stronger than the yellow pickaxe guys, and it might take you a few battles to encounter him, but if you take him out with high rank, you will be rewarded with Sonic Wave. This chip is not only a new entry in the library, but also a pretty strong tool early on, so feel free to get a few extra copies if you need to. We are about to dive into our first internet mission, so allow me to take a moment and make some changes to my folder. What I'm going to do is to replace all of the recovery chips with shockwaves and the Sonic Wave chip we just got a moment ago. You can feel free to differ from me in this aspect, but since MegaMan regains his health after each fight, and enemies are very weak at this point of the game, recovery 10 chips are not that useful. Thus, I would suggest you to swap them for some extra firepower. Now let's go back home and see what's going on. As soon as you step through the door, you'll be greeted by this absolutely non-suspicious net safety employee, who's gonna make sure our oven doesn't blow up. Thanks a lot, man! With zero worries about our safety, or the safety of our home and family, it's time to connect to Lan's PC and hop into the internet for the first time. Internet areas in Ep.1 are infamous for their complexity and maze-like designs. However, the first main area is surprisingly simple to navigate. Even if you diverge from the main path, it's easy to find your way back. In fact, these branches will take you to a few terminals that we'll soon gain access to. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. As soon as you enter Area 1, you'll run into Glide. This polite gentleman is Jai's net Navi, and he's worried about a Mr.Prog that managed to get lost on his way back to their PC. So, to help him out, he will give you Jai's net address. This item will allow us to open a shortcut to her PC later on, and it's the first out of 8 we'll need to collect in order to obtain an RA achievement and a Legacy Collection trophy. With that item in our hands, let's go and find that lost Mr.Prog. Internet Area 1 contains some of the enemies we've seen thus far, with some new additions like Canodoms. These fellows are stationary turrets that will try to lock on to MegaMan. However, if you know how to funky step around them, they are easy peasy. Because they drop cannon battle chips, try to get high ranks along the way. The fishies, however, are the new lads in town. These guys will quickly try to dash towards you as soon as they step into the same row as MegaMan, so keep an eye on them and be ready to move out of the way. You can get a very good chip from these guys, however I'll try to go for it at a different place. If you happen to get it right now, then kudos because you have a big advantage on your way to the next area. Now that we have some shockwaves into our folder, most of these fights should be easy to handle. Get the enemies to stand on the same row, and give them a taste of their own medicine. And if that's not enough, funky step your way to their HP until more chips are ready. Now back on track, if you wanna get to that Mr.Prog, you'll have to go straight forward and then just follow that path. On your way, you'll run into this evil looking door. These require the World 3 pen to get through. There are a couple of these across the net, and they all guard some nifty rewards, but we can't do anything about them at the moment. So at least make sure to remember where they are located. Once you get to the ramp, turn left and then take the path that goes south. We are about to encounter our very first net dealer of the game, so allow me to quickly explain a few things about how to get some zennies into our pockets. You might have already noticed that, despite getting high ranks, sometimes money will drop instead of a chip. Unlike future entries, even on the highest rank, you are not guaranteed a battle chip upon winning the fight. This is because, assuming you got an S rank, there is a 50-50 chance to either get the chip or to get some money. While this is going to give us some problems later on, right now it's the reason I suggested you to not skip a single fight, since even if you don't get a cool new move, you are gonna get some very valuable cash. The other way to get Zenny is to find it on mystery data. These respawn at random locations every time you jack into the network, and their contents can vary, so make sure to look around for them whenever you're exploring the internet. So this net dealer holds very valuable stuff in his shop. Depending on how much money you got on the way here, you might be able to buy that power-up program right away. However, I'm a bit short on cash. If you find yourself in the same situation as I did, worry not, because we're going to pass in front of this guy again very soon. So make sure to save up for that program. Go past him and you'll soon find the lost Mr.Prog. Once you've talked to him, the first half of the mission will be completed. Now we only need to go to Jai's network and let Glide know that we found his lost program. Seek out any possible mystery datas before going back, and now that we have the money, let's buy that power-up and apply it right away to our blue fellow. So there are 12 power-up programs in total, and each one of them will add 1 point to a stat of your choosing. While you're free to upgrade your bastard however you want, make sure to always put the first one into charge. That way you'll unlock the charge shot right away, and let me tell ya, this move is gonna be very useful. As soon as you use the power up, you will be granted the More Power achievement, and MegaMan will now be at level 4. So to find Jai's portrait, just go back the way you came, and once you get to this intersection, go left and you'll find the terminal. Since Glide gave us Jai's net address, you will be allowed to enter and you'll be able to use this two-way portal at any time. Talk to Glide to finish the mission and take your reward, Spreader Eye, a very useful chip early on and also a new entry on the library. You're now free to leave and continue with the main story, however we're gonna stay on this computer for a little longer. If you follow the spiral, you'll soon run into this mystery data and you will receive Recovery 30 AL, another chip for the library. But wait, you might be asking, Burncrow, you bird brain son of a gun, you said that the content of mystery data can vary. How can you be so sure that we'll get that chip on this one? Well, the thing is, I lied. In Battle Network 1, the color of the mystery data doesn't matter too much. Instead, we have 3 types of mystery data: random mystery data, fixed mystery data, and one-use mystery data. Random mystery data, or RMD, behaves just as you'd imagine. They will spawn at random locations, and their content depends on RNG. Most of them will give you a certain amount of money, or a random chip within a specific pool that changes depending on the area you're in. On the contrary, fixed mystery data will always appear at the same place, and will always give you the same reward. If you come back and try to pick it up again, you'll get this odd message that reads, "He couldn't decode the data." This is done for a good reason. If you happen to lose this chip permanently, you can always come back and get another copy. But since it's in our inventory right now, the game will notice that and tell you, "Hey, you already have that one." Last but not least, we have one-use mystery data. These are often found in dungeons or attached to key items, and will not respawn after being collected. Their locations and contents are always set in stone. Well, now that we have decoded our data-related mystery, allow me to tell you why I'm sticking to this place for now. Remember that fishy enemy I mentioned back at Internet Area 1? This is a perfect area to try and obtain his chip, since they will spawn in bigger numbers. If you're an unlucky individual like me, this might take you a while, but trust me, it is worth your troubles. If you play your cards right, you will obtain the Dash battle chip, which, aside from being a new entry on the library, it's also a fantastic tool for early game areas. This chip will let you dash across one row while dealing 50 damage. While the damage numbers might not be so impressive, what makes it so powerful is that, for the duration of the attack, MegaMan is completely invincible, so you can use this as a counterattack move. With that prize in our hands, it's finally time to jack out and proceed into the next main objective. Before that though, I decided to make some changes to my folder. I swapped all of the A code cannons for B code cannons, and then changed one of my swords for the dash we just got. I also exchanged my Recovery 10 chips for a Recovery 30 and a bunch of Shockwave K chips. Since I didn't have anything special to fill the last spot with, I went with one more Cannon B chip. Alright, now we're set to go. All of that internet surfing has made our protagonist hungry, so let's see what Mom is cooking. I'm sure everything is okay. Well, guess it's dungeon time. Jack into the oven and let's put out that fire. While the open area is going to be the first actual dungeon comp of the game, it's meant to be the last piece of the game's tutorial, so don't you worry, you're gonna breeze through this for sure. Although, there is a quirk to this dungeon that you should be wary about, and it's how all mystery data in this place will disappear after we defeat the boss. This is only a thing in this dungeon for some reason, but if you follow my route through the two areas of the oven, you'll get them all no problem. From the starting point, head left to grab this shotgun Q-chip, and then go right to encounter a forced battle against a single med tool, which is hilarious considering not even the tutorial was this easy. In fact, Oven Comp 1 has no new enemies, so fights will be comfortable for now. Once you're done with the fight, follow the path until you get to the center of the area, pick up 400 Zenny from this mystery data, then head west and take the next path up north to grab this sword B chip. Keep heading north to find a mystery data containing Steel A, and once you have that, head back down and turn left to arrive at the core of the area. You'll need to talk to this Mr.Prog to make progress, as he will give you the Ice Block program, which you need to use to put out the fire that blocks our way. This program has only 7 uses, and to get the Extinguisher achievement, we need to reach the end of Oven Area 2 without running out. So follow my path and you'll get it no problemo. Alright, let's get out of here. Oh, so suspicious net safety employee was a War 3 agent all along. Golly! This is fine. No, really, it's fine. Just head over to Lance's room, check this drawer right here to find a water gun, and use it on the oven to restore the connection to MegaMan. You see, he's fine. Now that we are back on track, head south to find these 2 columns of fire and clear one of them to open the path to the next area. Oh, and don't forget to get the mystery data with 200 Zenny inside. Open Area 2 might look a little bit more elaborate, but the path is pretty simple. Alright, so first off, take the left route to this shotgun queue, remove one of the 2 fires that block your way, and then head north. You'll encounter this 500 Zenny from the second mystery data on your way, and then you can take out only this specific fire right here. So you can take the path that goes upwards to find the last mystery data containing Little Bomb T, a new chip for our library. Right next to it, you'll see this batch of fire pillars, but you only want to take out 2 of them. The one from the bottom left corner and the one right next to it right. That way you'll have 2 remaining uses of Ice Block, and you'll get the Extinguisher achievement as soon as you reach the core of the oven. However, allow me to take a small detour to show you something cool. So you see, while you're inside this area, there is a chance to run into this fellow right here. This is a ball gear enemy, and if you defeat him with a busting level of 7 or higher, you'll obtain a battle chip that's pretty strong for the early chapters of the game. The chance to encounter this guy is around an 18%, so it might take you a while, but I'd say it's worth seeking out. Although if you want to head straight for the boss, it's perfectly fine. There will be many chances to get this chip later on. Once you find the guy though, you wanna get a few fast chips loaded in. Volgear's pattern is always very consistent. He will always avoid staying at the same row as MegaMan, and then after a few seconds, he'll use his fire tower attack. Thus, the safest strategy is to stand still to get him to move away from you, then count to 5, and as soon as he opens his mouth, quickly move to his row and blast away. If you've done this correctly, you'll get rank 8 and it's a 50-50 chance to get the chip or money. Since you're probably luckier than me, it should take you 1 or 2 fights to find Fire Tower, and that means it's a new chip for our library. This chip mimics Volgear's fire attack, which does 100 damage and can be manually angled up or down, so it's definitely a strong tool that will one-shot most normal enemies. I decided to exchange a Shotgun N chip with this on my folder, so we can make use of it in the upcoming boss fight. In fact, I ended up taking out the rest of these chips from my folder, and exchanged them for some extra shockwaves. One thing I'm going to do, however, is sort out my chips by code, and then place Sonic Wave and Fire Tower right at the top of the folder. By doing this, they will be more likely to appear on our custom screen during the first turn of every battle. Alright, with that we have obtained everything in this dungeon, so let's head through the path we opened before and stand face to face with FireMan, the first boss of the game. Oh, an extinguisher should pop as soon as you begin the fight. Let's go! FireMan is, by a long shot, the easiest boss in the entire game. He's a fire-type Navi, which makes him weak to water-type chips. But since we don't have access to those yet, we won't be getting the chance to exploit his weakness. Still, with only 300 HP, your folder should be more than enough to take him down. As for his attack patterns, he will slowly move around the battlefield, and when he stops, he will choose between one of two attacks. If he points his arm forward, he's going to fire a fire tower, similar to Ball Gears, and if he crouches down to charge up, he'll attack with his flamethrower in a straight line. Thus, you want to pay attention to the way he telegraphs his next attack, and then respond accordingly. If he starts charging up, you can quickly counterattack, and if he uses Fire Tower, move out of its path and then fight back. Another trick to take down FireMan very easily is by using Steel to reduce his area and then try to get close to land some sword attacks. Either way, if you pay attention to the way he moves, you should be able to defeat him without any issues. By doing so, you will be awarded with the Oven Saber achievement and a fixed reward of 1000 Zenny. And that should be it for the very first dungeon in MegaMan Battle Network. Though FireMan's operator mentions how his mission was still a success. And that leaves our heroes wondering what the War 3 is up to after this incident. While not the last, this marks the end of the first chapter of the adventure. But before calling it a day, now that FireMan is gone, a few areas have become unlocked. So let's check them out. From now on, all of your friends' houses will be unlocked, since they are at home, so let's pay them a visit, shall we? First off, head to Dex's house. Even if we can't fight Gutsman just yet, we can still connect to his GameCube to find a hidden computer space. At the top left corner you'll find a crossgun K-chip, and if you didn't get Sonic Wave back at the doghouse, you can also find some Metals B2 here. That is all for this area, so let's check out, and then connect MegaMan to Dex's PC. If you make your way to the end of this computer space, you'll find two mystery datas. One contains Dex's net address, and the other one X-Panel3B, a new chip for the library. Inside this place, you might run into this fellow right here. He's called a B-Tank and his chip is Little Bomb. But since we got his chip back at the oven area, there is no need for you to try and farm him. When that is done, let's check out and head over to Mail's house, which is the one right next to Lance's home. If you go upstairs to her room, you can connect to this little Serbot plushie, and inside of him, at the top right corner, you'll obtain your very first HP memory item, as well as the More Energy achievement. These items permanently increase MegaMan's health by 20 points, while also leveling him up by 1 level. Aside from that, inside this area there are a few new enemies to deal with. On one hand we have Flappies. These guys will jump twice and then attempt to crush you, so keep your guard up and move out of the way when you need to. Defeat them with a rank of 5 or higher and you'll obtain Quake.1, a new chip for the library. Along with them we have Spookies. These fellows behave just like Ball Gear did. They will always attempt to avoid eye contact with you, and after a few seconds they'll attack. To dodge them properly, try to stay close, and then as soon as you see them pop in front of you, take a step back and then blast away. If your rank is high enough, you will be given Ep.1, a very good defensive chip, so try to defeat them as fast as you can, and you'll add one more chip to the count. There is one more place we can connect inside here, which is Mail's piano. Since this place will put you against the same enemies as Serbot Comp, if you didn't get Quake.1 or Ep.1 back there, you can also obtain those here. In fact, I'd say that it's even easier to get higher ranks here, since there are encounters that pair those enemies with Metals and other weaker viruses. Get to the end of this area to find Mail's net address and yet another new chip to the library, this being recovered in 50. There's only one more place we can check out, and that is Jai's mansion. Even though we already explored her portrait, you can head to the bottom left corner of the room to jack into this old phone. Once inside, head to the bottom left corner to find Escape Jai, and to the top right corner to obtain 1000 Zenny. And with that, we have cleared all that we can find inside of ACDC Town. Before ending the episode, you should have a lot of money after all of that, so let's make use of that. Connect to Lan's PC once more, follow the same path to the net dealer, and buy the second power-up that's on sale. You should also have enough money to buy at least 1 or 2 HP memories, so go ahead and get your hands on them and then just jack out. I'm going to apply the power-up to charge once more, since we're going to get a free power-up very soon. The most recommended upgrade path, and you can ignore this if you want to, is to get a few points in charge early on, then max out power. And once that's done, max out charge, and finally get the remaining power-ups to rapid. If you followed me through this episode, once you apply the second power-up, MegaMan should be at level 10. And that should be it, fellows. Let's head over to the summary and wrap up this episode. So, in about 1 hour of playtime, we successfully completed the first chapter of the game, as well as clearing out all available comps in ACDC area. That also means we now have 3 out of 8 net addresses we need to collect to unlock a few places later down the road. We also got 12 new BattleChips, which puts us at 22 out of 175 to reach full library completion. MegaMan is now at level 10, which means we got 2 power-up programs and 3 HP memories, which kick up our HP into 160 points. As for achievements, we collected 7 out of 50 in RetroAchievements, and 1 out of 12 BN1 dedicated trophies of the Legacy Collection. You could say it was a pretty productive 60-minute session, wasn't it? Anyways, ladies and gents, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the ride thus far. If you liked what you've seen, feel free to support the channel via subscribing and liking the video, and let me know what you all think through the comments. This is FerncoSP, and I hope I can see you soon. Hasta la vista, NetBattlers!